Hey guys, Andrew with 911 South here. So today I'm making the switch from air back to water. Hey guys, wanted to give you kind of an exciting update here on the channel. For those who have followed along for the last year and a half or so, you know that I did a build on a 1997 993 air-cooled. For those who have followed from the beginning, you know that I started my journey into Porsche, at least for this channel, with a 996, a 1999 black on black cabriolet. So the switch into air-cooled about a year and a half ago was something that I really wanted to do. I'd always wanted to experience the air-cooled side of Porsche. And so I set out to find a car, went to Toronto, got that car, brought it back and started a build and completed that maybe about 6 to 8 months ago and have been absolutely loving that car, really enjoying that car. I'll leave a link at the top to kind of the final build video. That'll give you a sense of what I've done to the 993 in case you missed any of that. And, you know, have taken that to car shows here in Atlanta, you know, events through the Porsche Car Club, more of the casual meetups that I've discussed multiple times on the channel here with friends in the area that we've been kind of trying to build. And I've taken that car up to the mountain several times, both with friends and then also more organized events. Most recently took the car up to the first annual P-Car Club Members Drive, fair in 2020. And really enjoyed that experience. I will tell you, if you haven't driven an air-cooled Porsche or air-cooled 911 in a more performance setting, say the mountains or the track, I highly recommend doing that. I think it gives you such an appreciation for those cars. Really just the sounds and the sights and just how raw an experience that is amazing. And it's something that I certainly enjoyed, and I'm glad I had the opportunity to experience that. What I will say about that experience is that it also made me realize that if you're gonna drive the car and push it hard, but also be safe and responsible, which of course all of us wanna be, there are certainly limitations with those cars. They do create a bit of a glass ceiling, I'll call it, where your ability to really push the car is limited by the car itself. Whereas with the newer cars, it's sort of the other way around. And so in most of those instances, when I ran the 993 up in the mountains, there were some other air-cooled cars, but in a lot of cases, there were a lot of water-cooled cars. And so it's always piqued my interest to think about what would it be like to have more of a performance-oriented modern 911 to really do more of that aggressive mountain driving. And so after several of these trips over the last 6 months, running with some of these cars, I came back to Atlanta and started on a journey of kind of understanding the options around that. I hadn't done a ton of research. I mean, of course I knew enough about, say 997s and 991s, but hadn't done a ton of research on, purchase prices and kind of pros and cons and different things about them. So started doing that. And what I came to the conclusion around was that I felt like a 991.1 was really a good place to look as it relates to kind of this exploration. So a few reasons being that obviously the 991 was a major update from the 997. And as much as one day I would really like to own a 997, especially like a GT3, just all the updates in terms of technology features, the cockpit, the PDK, all those kinds of things kind of made me gravitate towards the 991. And then the .1, because from a price point standpoint, I wanted to get into something, that I could afford, most obvious, but also something I could afford with room to do a build. So I'm not typically one to buy something off the shelf and kind of just drive it. If you follow my channel, you follow my Instagram, you know this. And so the .1 seemed like they make a lot of sense because a lot of them were no longer CPO, warranted, so somebody has probably taken most of the depreciation on that car. If you're buying that with say 30,000 miles out of warranty, 2014, 15 type of car. So you can get into it and then, at a minimum, know that you can drive it for a while and probably not really lose much on the car and always kind of move into another variant and, kind of experience the brand that way. But at a maximum, potentially even turn a little bit of a profit depending on what you do to the car and kind of how you take care of it. So .1s made a lot of sense. And then of course from there, I went out to understand the base model, the Carrera S, the GTS, and then the GT3. Once I did that, I realized a few things. One, GT3 is definitely aspirational, amazing car. Hope to own one day in some form or fashion, like I said, 997 or maybe a 991, but really just not at my price point at the moment. The base model, just not enough kind of coming with that, in my opinion. So that kind of got me down to the S and the GTS. Started test driving here in town. Planning on this being somewhat of a long exploration, but found a Carrera S that with all the specs that it had from the factory ended up being pretty close to a GTS spec, and it was also a killer price. And so long story short, the people that had the car listed do a lot of Porsche sales here in town as an aftermarket dealer, had keen interest in my 993. For those of you who live in Georgia, you know the Avalorum situation here. So there were a lot of motivators for me to basically make a good profit on the 993, save on taxes, get into the 991, and so I decided to pull the trigger. And so the 993 is with them on its way to a future owner. 991 is in my possession with a build in mind. So I got a lot of feedback when I did the 993 to say, we love the build, we love what you've done, but we wish you had documented more of the process. Why did you choose the aero kit you chose? What is the exhaust you put on? It sounds amazing. How difficult was it to get roof wheels, from Germany? So I got a lot of comments, a lot of questions. So I'm trying to take that feedback to heart. And so I'm starting this as episode 1 of a 991 build series. So I'm gonna take you along for every step of the journey as it relates to doing this new water-cooled build. So everything from why I chose things to how I got them, how I hopefully was able to get some deals and some good places to look if you're interested in some of these products, how they go on, the installation, the partners and shops I use here in town for those items, and then also the DIY stuff I do myself and how to potentially do that on your own as a DIY. So I'm gonna take you along for all the steps, assuming this is gonna be something like maybe 5 to 10 episodes, probably one per concept, whether it's aero kit, wheels, etc. But really the list so far is to do some wheels. Definitely wanna do aftermarket wheels to add some personality. I'm gonna add an aero kit to the car to give it a upgraded and different exterior look. I'm gonna look into exhausts. Part of the reason I really wanted to do .1 was to get the 3.8 liter naturally aspirated Flash 6. It's got a crazy unique sound, as anybody knows who's heard one, and I want to really accentuate that with an exhaust option. I am going to look into an ECU tune. I know there's a lot of discussion, a lot of opinions on whether you should or should not tune a naturally aspirated Porsche. Is there really ROI on that? So I'm going to get into that and my reasons as to why I'm thinking about doing one. We're gonna do color accents. Got a lot of feedback on the 993 about the roof green brake calipers and belts that I did to kind of give it my own signature touch. So I plan to do the same thing and obviously a different color on the 991 and a whole lot of other things. So I plan to take you along for every step of that. I really hope you enjoy the process. If you want to stay up to date on when those episodes come out over the next few months, please hit the subscribe button below you. That will give you notifications from my channel when new videos go up. That way you're able to see those, comment on those. I'm quick to comment, so if you get a notification, you're able to watch it within a day or two, and then you're commenting. That's probably the best way for us to get into a dialogue around questions and why I chose things and how I found something and what I paid for something. So please do subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching this one video on episode 1, and stay tuned for the rest. Really excited to take you guys along for what I think is going to be an epic journey, a really cool experience to now experience another part of the 911 and Porsche brand, and something just really fun to put my own touch on. So thanks again and stay tuned.